Imagine carrying the weight of one of the most famous unsolved murders in history for nearly 3 decades, a case that shook the music world and left millions demanding answers. Imagine being the person who not only holds the secrets but also brags about them on camera. That's the story of Duane Keefe D. Davis, the man now sitting in a Las Vegas jail, facing charges that could finally crack the mystery behind Tupac Shakur's assassination. Nearly 30 years after Tupac's tragic death, the world might finally be getting closer to justice. But as with everything surrounding Tupac, it's not simple, and it's not without new twists. This is the story of the night that changed hip-hop forever, the man who couldn't stay silent, and why 2025 could mark the final chapter in an American tragedy. September 7, 1996 was supposed to be another wild night in Las Vegas. Tupac Shakur was 25 years old, standing at the peak of his fame, celebrated worldwide for his fierce lyrics, revolutionary spirit, and raw storytelling. He wasn't just a rapper, he was a symbol of rebellion, a young man whose words spoke to anger, pain, and hope all at once. That night, Tupac and Death Row Records boss Suge Knight attended the Mike Tyson fight at the MGM Grand. It was supposed to be an evening of celebration, but a confrontation in the casino lobby, where Tupac and his entourage attacked a rival gang member, Orlando Anderson, would set deadly wheels in motion. Later that night, as Tupac and Suge cruised down the Vegas Strip, a white Cadillac pulled up beside their black BMW at a stoplight. Without warning, gunfire erupted from the Cadillac. Multiple shots, rapid and violent. Tupac was hit 4 times, including wounds to his chest, arm, and thigh. 6 days later, on September 13, 1996, he died in the hospital. The murder shocked the world. Tupac wasn't just a rapper, he was a generational voice. His death left fans devastated and opened the floodgates for countless theories and conspiracies. As a high-ranking member of the Southside Compton Crips, Keefe D was well acquainted with the streets and the music industry's darker undercurrents. He had a direct link to the confrontation with Tupac in Las Vegas through his nephew, Orlando Anderson. What made Keefe D different from others wasn't just his proximity to the crime, it was his need to talk. In 2009, facing serious drug charges, Keefe D sat down with police for an interview in which he admitted his involvement in Tupac's murder under a limited immunity deal. He confessed that he was inside the white Cadillac from which the shots were fired and claimed that Orlando Anderson pulled the trigger. In later interviews, documentaries, and even a memoir, Keefe D repeated these claims. He painted himself as an insider with the ultimate street story, the man who knew what really happened on the night Tupac died. Keefe D even alleged that music mogul Sean Diddy Combs had offered him $1 million to kill Tupac and Suge Knight. Although Diddy has consistently denied any involvement and no charges were ever filed against him, Keefe D's accusations added another dark layer to an already sinister tale. But every story he told became evidence. Every boast became a brick in the wall that eventually closed in on him. On September 29, 2023, after nearly 3 decades of speculation and frustration, law enforcement finally acted. Las Vegas police arrested Keefe D, charging him with murder with the use of a deadly weapon in connection to Tupac's killing. It was a historic moment. The arrest was built largely on Keefe D's own words, his public statements, his interviews, and his confessions. Prosecutors made it clear, even if Keefe D didn't personally pull the trigger, orchestrating and enabling the attack made him equally responsible under Nevada law. Despite his attempts to fight the charges, Keefe D remains in custody. Concerns about witness intimidation, public safety, and fears that he could profit financially from his infamy have kept him behind bars. It was a stunning fall from grace. For years, Keefe D had been a free man, profiting from the very murder he's now accused of orchestrating. Now he faces the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison. But even behind bars, Keefe D's troubles continued. In early 2025, while awaiting his murder trial, Keefe was involved in a jailhouse fight with another inmate at the Clark County Detention Center. Security footage caught the violent brawl, leading to new charges: battery by a prisoner and issuing threats. Prosecutors immediately flagged the incident, arguing that it showed Keefe D's pattern of violence and lack of remorse. For someone already facing serious charges, the jail fight made his situation even worse. The altercation gave prosecutors additional leverage heading into the murder trial, further damaging Keefe D's credibility and painting him as a man still ruled by anger and violence. If he hoped to gain sympathy from a jury, the fight might have erased that possibility completely. Tupac's murder wasn't just a crime. It was the defining moment in the infamous East Coast versus West Coast hip-hop rivalry. By 1996, the tension between Death Row Records in Los Angeles and Bad Boy Records in New York had reached a boiling point. Diss tracks, magazine covers, and street rumors fueled a war that seemed inevitable. Tupac had accused Biggie Smalls, also known as the Notorious Big, and Diddy of setting him up in a 1994 New York shooting. Biggie responded with his own subliminal shots and music. Fans picked sides. And what began as a musical feud turned into real-world violence with devastating consequences. Keefe D's allegations about Diddy's supposed involvement, though unproven, show just how blurred the lines between street beef and record label business had become. It wasn't just about record sales anymore, it was about life, death, loyalty, and betrayal. Tupac's death felt like the first domino falling in a tragedy that would soon claim Biggie's life too. Now, almost 30 years later, the world is watching again. Keefe D's trial is scheduled for March 2025, and anticipation is sky high. For Tupac's fans, the trial represents hope. Hope for justice, hope for answers, hope for closure. But trials are unpredictable. Will the jury accept Keefe D's previous confessions? Will defense attorneys argue that his stories were exaggerated or coerced? Could Keefe D take the stand and reveal even more secrets? No matter what happens, the trial promises to reopen old wounds and force the music world to reckon once again with the violence that cost it one of its brightest stars. Depending on who you ask, Keefe D is either a street legend who couldn't keep his mouth shut, or a convenient fall guy in a complex web of conspiracies. There are some who believe law enforcement waited too long to bring charges, using Keefe D as a last chance to salvage their reputation. Others say Keefe D's own greed and arrogance sealed his fate. Either way, it's hard to deny the facts. Keefe D put himself at the center of this story. He boasted about it for years. And now he may pay the ultimate price for it. If convicted, he faces life in prison without the possibility of parole. a final, devastating end for the man who once bragged about escaping justice. The murder of Tupac Shakur left a scar on American culture that has never fully healed. His music still speaks to millions, his life still inspires, his death still haunts. For decades, justice seemed impossible, just another dream lost to time. Now, with Duane Keefe D. Davis finally facing trial, the world has a chance to hear the full truth. Maybe it won't answer every question, maybe it won't heal every wound. But for Tupac's memory, for his family, and for hip-hop, the pursuit of justice matters. Justice delayed is painful, but justice denied would be unforgivable. Do you think that Keefe D will get time for the murder of Tupac? Did his desire for clout make him snitch on himself? Write your thoughts in the comments. Click the video above.